Welcome to HortTube. My name is Jim Putnam. In this video, I'm going to talk about a couple of things I'm doing to my lawn today. And then after that, I want to talk about some upcoming videos. I'm going to have testing some organic weed preventers and post-emergent weed techniques and things I've read online and people have asked me about over the years. I'm going to put them all to the test. I've got some spaces marked out at the garden center that I'm going to be killing some weeds, hopefully. So I'll talk more about that at the end of this video. Today, I'm actually going to put out some fescue seed and I'm going to put out some fertilizer on my lawn. I'm actually converting my lawn to a warm season grass. And for those of you, I don't know where you're watching this from, I'm in zone 7 and we're kind of in the transition zone between where cool season grasses like fescue and bluegrass do well to the north, and then to the south of me, Bermuda and zoysia and centipede and St. Augustine are kind of the grasses of choice. The warm season grasses, they're green in the summer and then go dormant in the winter time, unless you're way far south, and then they don't go dormant at all. But in my area, in kind of 7B, neither is a great option because it really is too hot for the fescue and the bluegrass part of the year. And then in the winter time, our winters are pretty long in my area, and so the Bermudas and the centipedes and the zoysias stay asleep for a long time. But I am going to convert mine to centipede. It's extremely low maintenance, doesn't require really any chemical applications, and not even a lot of fertilizer actually. It's kind of self-maintaining. That's why I'm going to switch over to it. But I have a problem in the meantime. I put out this ryegrass in the fall and it's come up and it's beautiful everywhere, but it's going to die as soon as it hits 90 degrees. Any consistent upper 80s, low 90s is going to kill this pretty quickly. Centipede seed, when I put it out, will take a while to establish. It's a little slow to germinate and get started and get going and fill in and take over. It spreads with runners, and it takes a little while for that to happen. I think I'm going to end up with some bare dirt when this ryegrass dies and that centipede is filling in, and I don't want that at all because then that seed may end up washing away. So I'm going to overseed it with fescue. So again, I'm going to have another burst of seed coming up, and it's going to look fantastic again. And then probably by mid to late summer, the sun is really going to be working on this pretty hard. I'm a full sun turf, and hopefully that'll knock that back and that centipede can fill in. Weird step that I have to put in the middle of it. Because I'm seeding in the spring, I can't really use any sort of weed preventer of any kind, and that's something I want to touch on. Something folks, I really have never told, how I got, to the point where I owned a nursery and have a garden center and making these videos. But one step that I had in the middle of all this is back in my early 20s, I went to work for a landscaper who did organic lawn care, and I was running his organic lawn care division, and we were diving into the possibilities of manipulating soil to control weeds and using all organics, and we were applying things to turf, and we had tools that we could check the sugars in the grasses and in the weeds and see if things were responding favorably or poorly to what things we were doing. And we traveled to different cities around the country and went to conferences, and I spent a lot of time learning about organics. And so when you see one of my soil videos where I talk about pH or I'm talking about soil science in any way, those things come from a very deep dive I did on this topic many years ago. And I've lived in this house for 22 years. I've never once put a chemical on this lawn, and it's not so much because I'm a chemophobe. I have no problems with chemicals really. But my son played out here for 18 years. In fact, I'd meet new people in this neighborhood and people would go, "You're the house where this kid is always playing out in the front yard." That's how people knew me and knew this house. And so I've never put any kind of crabgrass preventer down or chemical crabgrass preventer. I've never put any 2,4-D on it to kill weeds. I've never really cared. I use techniques like mowing it much higher than other people do, and that controls a lot of my weeds. That's why I don't really have any of the winter weeds that other people probably have right now. It's because I don't scalp it off. My grass is actually shading the soil. I use a lot of techniques like that, but I do have weeds, but I kind of don't care. I've just never, I use chemicals in the nursery. We really don't have a lot of choice. The one issue there is we put hundreds and hundreds of the same thing in the same space, and insects can kind of, insect problems and disease problems can kind of run amok in that, and we overhead irrigate, and so the leaves stay wet for a lot longer than they would in the landscape, and that invites different types of pests, different types of diseases. And so we do spray there, but I limit it at my house as much as possible. I'm not even really that scared of them, but I just think back over the last 22 years, that would have been 22 crabgrass preventer applications and probably 44 to 50 post-emergent weed applications. And of what benefit would it have been to me? None, really. I've had okay grass, and that's been fine with me. I realize that's not for everybody, and some people actually live in neighborhoods where you have to do, certain things to the turf now to comply. And so, anyway, I just want to go over what I'm planning on doing coming up in some videos this spring and into the early summer. Is I'm actually going to put some of these organic products that I see online, like Espoma makes a weed preventer that you put out at the same time you'd normally put the chemical crabgrass preventer out. At the garden center where I have Bermuda grass, I'm going to apply this to a section of that turf. I'm going to apply the regular crabgrass preventer and let's see what it's able to do, and then I'm going to have an area where we don't apply anything. And I feel like if this is a corn gluten meal product, this has been around for a while, and a lot of companies make different versions of it. I feel like if it's hitting 80% of what the other crabgrass preventers do, and I can really recommend this product going forward if you need to put down a pre-emergent herbicide on your turf area. Okay, as an extension of that, there are lots and lots of different ways to organically control weeds after they come up in your bed spaces. And I have bought all these things in front of me, and more things are coming. I have actually bought one of all of them. And plus there's techniques that I don't need to buy, like boiling water and things like that I'm going to try. I've got a big space at the garden center that's just covered in weeds. I did it on purpose. It's not good for my garden center business, probably. It doesn't look very good, but I'm going to use all these post-emergent products. There's a vinegar product, and there's a citric acid product, and there's other post-emergent things, and I'm going to use a chemical control. And then we'll do nothing in a space, and we'll just give some comparison to all of those things and see if some of these organic options can replace what you may or may not be doing at this time, or give you options. And then after we get the weeds killed, I've got pre-emergent option. Preen actually makes an organic option. It's the same kind of corn gluten meal product as this Espoma lawn weed preventer. We'll use that. I have another weed preventer here from Concern. I have the regular Preen product, the chemical product that lots and lots of people use and hundreds of thousands of people use. We'll use that, and we'll have a space where we do nothing, and we'll see if some of these products can work and replace some of the things you're doing. I've bought one of everything that can be used for these different sort of weed control measures from the lawn into the beds, and I just want to see if they will work. But anyway, today, you don't need to see me push this spreader around. I'm going to use Espoma's organic fertilizer program this year. Never tried it before. They have 4 separate applications a year. This is the early spring lawn booster product right here. It covers 5,000 square feet. I'm going to put this out, and I'm going to put this fescue out. I'm putting 10 pounds per 1,000 square feet. That's if 8 to 10 pounds is what you do if you have bare dirt. And I'm just assuming I have bare dirt because this rye is going to disappear on me. And so that's why I'm doing the 8 to 10 pounds. If you were just overseeding fescue, it's about half that, 4 or 5 pounds per 1,000 square feet. So these 2 products will cover, I have probably just a hair over 5,000 square feet of turf at this point. So you don't need to see me push this around. I use this Earthway spreader. I'll link a video up here if you're watching on YouTube of me using this Earthway spreader in the fall. I've always used one of these. The landscape version is much bigger that I used to use. This is kind of a homeowner version of it. So anyway, thank you very much for watching this video and listening to me ramble on, but there will be some upcoming videos on organic and non-organic products, and see if we can reduce some of the impacts we're doing in our own home gardens. And I also even have a weed preventer, an organic weed preventer for the vegetable garden. Forgot about that one. We'll be trying that one out as well. And again, I'm using an organic fertilizer on my turf because I talked about using organics in the ground. I'm trying to, rather than just feed the grass directly, this organic lawn food is going to feed all the living organisms that are in the soil, create kind of a living environment, and the grass will feed from that. And that's the reason I do that, because over time I can actually create a situation, and I learned this doing organic lawn care, we can create a situation where we can actually back off the fertilizer over time by creating a soil that's able to support the living things on top of it without us putting additional inputs into that. So thank you very much for watching this video, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel to see these upcoming videos.